Welcome, episode 2 of the Ballverse. I'm Jared.
I'm Camden.
All right, so we got a fun day for you here today. We got some big news going on in the NBA the past few days. We're going to do a little fun mock draft for the NHL. I think that'll be a lot of fun and just see where it goes from there. So NBA, big last few days happening. I think the biggest news that happened was Kemba Walker got traded.
Which surprised me. I didn't think they were going to be able to move him.
Yeah, no, it news just came out recently that he was being shopped a little bit, but evidently he got traded to Oklahoma City Thunder, who still keep on stacking first-round picks. I don't know how they do it.
Well, they're
Sam
brilliant.
Presti is a genius.
Well, I mean, Boston did the same thing, gathering all the picks, and it is yet to work out, which is they thought Kemba would be that missing piece, and he did not deliver. His knees at this point are, not helping anyone and definitely limiting his ability to play.
Yeah, he's not the cardiac Kemba he was in college.
Or even in Charlotte. So they definitely needed to move him, and Oklahoma City from the beginning of the trade rumors made the most sense because of their ability to take on the cap space and, having the other Al Horford contract and being able to use that to kind of balance the salaries. And they love draft picks. I'm interested to see what they do with the draft picks because there's no way they use this absurd amount of draft picks. It's capital, it's assets that they're going to use to look to package. Maybe this year they use all three of those first round picks, but it's around 30 picks for the next 3 or 4 years, something absurd like that.
Yes, yeah, it's got to be around that number. But with that trade, they now have 3 first-round draft picks in this 2021 NBA draft, and I think they're all inside the top 20. And potentially a number 1 overall pick with the lottery coming up in a few days.
Do they have odds at getting the?
They do. Yep. Oh, it's their own because they had that bad of a season this year.
Oh yeah, they were running like a G League roster out there.
Exactly. Yes.
Which is Kemba even going to really play for them? Probably.
Yeah. I mean, capacity. They don't. Yeah, Thunder really don't have a true point guard. So, I don't see why they wouldn't play.
Well, they have SGA still.
Yeah, but he's a shooting guard.
Yeah, he plays on the wing, opposed to running the point.
Yeah, Kemba could be that veteran leadership that the Thunder need, help develop the younger players. Because obviously Al Horford wasn't that.
Right. Horford's been just kind of floating around at this point. I think it's a great move for the Celtics, though. Gives them some flexibility. What does Horford's contract look like at this point?
It's got to be terrible. It's okay.
2 more years.
Yeah, 2 more years and 27 mil each year. But only 14.5 million of it is guaranteed in 2022-23.
So they're able to move on from him if they need to, because that's really what this is about. It's about getting that flexibility. And they still need a point guard if they want to still take advantage of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They need to build that core. So I think getting rid of it was evident that Kemba was not going to be the guy anymore just because of the injuries, which is a damn shame because he was so talented when he was healthy, but it looks like that's just not going to be the case anymore.
But yeah, he's 2 seasons removed since he last played for the Celtics. Now he's just going back.
Horford, yeah. And I mean, they struggled to replace him after he left, so it's not unheard of. They do fill a need and free up some flexibility long term. They used a pick that they really don't need.
But yeah, the full trade was Kemba Walker, the 16th overall pick in this year's draft, a 2022 second-round pick to the Thunder for Al Horford, Moses Brown, and a 2023 second-round pick.
Is it 2022 second or 25? NBC's telling me it's
going to
24.
the Thunder.
Yeah.
ESPN's telling me 2025.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah. And then the Celtics get a 2023 second round pick from the Thunder.
So the Celtics paid to get rid of Walker. That's really what it comes down to.
Yes, I guess they didn't. Well, let's look at Kemba's contract situation.
Is there God, is there who are they really do you think they're gonna target to replace Walker at the point?
Mike Conley. He's a free agent.
Gosh, that would be good.
And Jazz just got bumped from the playoffs, so I mean, I could see it happening.
That was so sad. I want Donovan Mitchell. I want the best for Donovan.
Yeah,
Mitchell.
Donovan carried last night. He just got no help.
So, do the Celtics? Looks like they do not have a first round pick anymore.
No, yeah, they gave it up just then.
And that was their only one. So I guess they're running out of those Ainge picks.
Yes. Maybe Kyle Lowry's another option for the Celtics. I actually really like Lowry to the Celtics. I think that could happen.
The problem, has Lowry ever really performed in the playoffs?
No, but the Celtics aren't going to care about.
Well, they're at this point they're trying to get over the hump. They're good. They don't need a point guard to be a good team, but they need a point guard if they want to win a championship, and that's the whole goal.
Lowry's won a championship. I don't see what the problem is.
Okay. You want to tell me about that championship team
a little bit? Kawhi Leonard carried. Yeah, I believe me, I know.
That was Kawhi's championship.
That was, yes.
I think
only in part because Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant both got hurt that series.
Well, I'm not going to play the who was injured card, but Kawhi.
Yeah, just look at this year. This is the year of whoever stays the healthiest the longest. Because Nuggets, their roster was dwindled because Jamal wasn't playing. Obviously, Lakers had their fair share of problems.
Denver got swept, man. The Suns steamrolled them.
Because we didn't have Jamal Murray. And then we didn't have anyone that could guard their shooters, Didn't have anyone. Because we traded away Gary Harris.
Yeah.
If we have Gary Harris, we have a better chance that series.
I'd like to see the Suns get to the finals. I think they're a fun team.
I think that'll happen.
I think Chris Paul deserves a ring for everything he's accomplished. And
the Suns look way too good to not make the finals this year.
Well, if Chris Paul's not around, I don't think they get past the Clippers, and he's in.
Well, Kawhi Leonard
still in COVID.
No, I think but he should be back for like game 2 or 3, I believe. But Kawhi Leonard, he's out for the foreseeable future with a ACL injury, I believe.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But yeah, 76ers also tied up the series last night with the Hawks.
Yeah, I think this year's playoffs has been a lot more exciting than typical years. Normally it's LeBron and the Warriors just walking through. That's what it's been like for the past, obviously not last year, but previously to that, it's just been that consistently. So I think the mix up this year, the matchup between Milwaukee and Brooklyn has been one of the best series in a while. Just
game 7 tonight. Who do you got?
I want Milwaukee, but Kevin Durant's on a mission right now. And they're getting contributions from other players. Who dropped 30 yesterday? Let me get that name for you.
But yeah, I'm with you.
Terrence Mann.
Yeah, Terrence Mann went off in the second half last night.
Dropped 39 points, helped leading them. Brooklyn just looks good. And when the James Harden trade went through, I was curious as to how all that would work out.
Mm-hmm.
And between the fluctuating health of their 3 superstars, they've just been able to perform admirably. And I think we got to shout out Bruce Brown here for really leading the team.
Oh, man.
Former Piston, man.
Yeah. Same with Blake Griffin.
I don't want to talk about Blake Griffin.
Why not?
bum. He was just not even trying in Detroit. And then the minute he gets to Brooklyn, it's like, oh, he can dunk now. He's got the vertical back.
A
He
better team
cares.
can change a lot of things, get you more into the game. Obviously, you have a
Okay,
lot more fun when you're winning and not losing.
right, but it's an effort thing. Do you really is it a good look to give up on your team? I get it. You know,
It is if it's a terrible team.
his first couple of years, he gave everything for the Pistons, and he some good memories, some
Oh
good
yeah.
performances. But I remember being so excited when that trade went through, and I still hold true that if they would have taken a first round pick or Tobias Harris out of that trade, then it actually would have been a good trade. But it was an extreme overpay by Van Gundy. Griffin was revitalized here, had some good years, but when it came down to it, he just gave up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a terrible look. And then he finally gets released and he's making all this money, and now he's sitting there on a playoff team and he finally cares again, and it looks like he's still a good player.
Apparently, who would have
Which,
thought?
you know what, I'm happy with where the Pistons are at right now. I'm hopeful with Troy Weaver and where they're going. So
Yeah, this was
too
their
bitter.
first year this year, so
They had a couple all NBA rookies, so
yeah, it's not too bad. Sadiq Bey, first team, and then
ooh,
Isaiah
Stu.
Stewart, second team. Yeah, Stu.
Stu.
Woohoo.
But I
um,
think Suns, I'd like to see the Suns and Hawks in the finals because I'm a big Trey
that
Young
would be a
fan.
really interesting finals.
Big Trey Young fan, but I don't know if the Hawks have the
I don't think the Hawks or 76ers beat Brooklyn or Milwaukee. I
right.
think the winner of the East comes from this game 7 tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Which
And I'm like you, I want the Bucks to win just because of Bryn Forbes and
well, I'm a Giannis. I like
Giannis.
Giannis
Giannis
a
too.
lot.
Giannis is a lot of fun to watch, but I
Special player.
Brooklyn uh she got so many superstars. I just don't think they can be beat at this
Yeah,
point.
Durant just knows at this point. Durant knows how to get it done in the playoffs.
Yep.
You know, that's
Just look
if
at what he did
anything,
in
that's the
Game
one thing.
6.
Yeah, it's just what he learned walking through the playoffs with the
Yeah.
Warriors is how to actually get it done and turn it
Yeah.
on when he needs to. And he's probably one of the most talented players in the league. I mean, he's a center that can play point guard, and that's incredible.
But going back to the Celtics-Thunder trade, who do you think won that trade?
I mean, to pick a definitive winner, we'd have to see how the draft pick that went to Oklahoma City went, but it just makes sense for both sides.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's a loser here. The Celtics paid to get rid of Walker so they can retool their team for another championship run. If they never make that championship run, I still don't say they lost the trade because they need to get Walker off the books. If that 16th pick turns into a draft steal and for some reason it's a superstar, well then maybe you'll lose it there. But I still don't think you wanted to bite the Kemba bullet in order to keep that 16th pick.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, they were in a position to do this, so it's just a classic. We're willing to take your problem if you pay us for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, depending on how they use that, is how well they're able to make out in this trade. But I think it makes sense for both sides.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, do you think there's a winner?
I like the Thunder's side of it. They still got a decent player in Kemba Walker, who's
No.
I still have faith in Kemba Walker. I think he can recapture the glory days. He's only 31 years old. He's still got about 3 to 4 years of good playing time in him, I believe. And then they also got a first round pick, which to stack another first round pick, building their team of future first round picks. I think it's a good move for the Thunder, and they offloaded Al Horford's horrific contract. I just think it's a win-win for the Thunder.
If Kemba Walker can return to some sort of relevance, sure. However, I mean, he got a stem cell injection on his knees. I just don't think that's a possibility. I think his knees are just done. He does not have that same explosiveness. Derrick Rose came back admirably from those injuries that
with the
allowed him
Pistons.
to become some sort of player again,
Right.
albeit never what he was.
No,
Can Kemba do that? I don't
unrealistic
know.
to believe he could get back to his MVP level.
Right, and I don't think Kemba Walker ever had that level.
No.
He's always been a tick below. So now
He was
when he
always like
falls down,
tier 2, tier 3 player.
so say he comes back and he's a relevant player, what level are we talking? He's not going to be an all-star anymore. I guess I don't think so.
It could happen.
His bounce was what made
probably
him
not
so
in
good.
the West because the West is so stacked with point guards. But I think he could be, decent tier 3 point guard.
I just don't think it's in there anymore. I think he comes back and, the best you're hoping out of him is, a distributor off the bench or, a guy who's not a main scoring option. And that's fine. The Thunder knew what they were getting in this trade, but to expect anything more than that is unrealistic at this point. At least that's how I feel about it.
No. You're right.
All right. So we kind of covered that. Jump over to some NHL playoffs. You want to do a quick recap there before we get into a mock draft? So in my initial, before the playoffs started, I did a bracket with some friends. My bracket's not doing very well, but my friend's bracket's doing really well. So I have Vegas winning because Vegas is just an absolute buzzsaw, an extremely talented team. Yeah. But I also picked Edmonton to go to the conference finals, so that didn't work out.
Yeah, that definitely didn't work out.
The Ken Holland effect.
Right.
But Vegas beating Colorado, that was an incredible series. Colorado's also, those are probably the best two teams in the playoffs. You fit Tampa Bay into that as well. And you're really seeing them come through. I'm surprised to see the Islanders still in it at this point, but I'm hoping for a Tampa Bay Vegas final, and I think that's what's most likely going to happen. New York's a extremely well-coached team, and that's kind of why they're at this point. Montreal, I don't know how the hell they're still here. Montreal never should have gotten past Toronto.
Lead too. They're up 2-1 after last night.
So I don't know what Montreal's up to, but
obviously they're up to winning a Stanley Cup.
A goalie gets hot and he can really carry you through the playoffs. And they play a very low energy, low event hockey where they're just focusing on defense. And with how the NHL playoffs are called, officiated different than the regular season, less penalties, a lot more of, let them play, let them work it out. That benefits teams like Montreal and, the Red Wings, for example. That's how Blashill envisions the team going into the future. That's how he's building the team. So I guess, seeing Montreal succeed like that can be some form of hope. But at some point, I think Vegas will break through. They're just so talented. And I guess really I'm hoping for it. I'm not a huge Vegas fan. I don't like that, an expansion team is having all this success without ever having the trials of failure.
Like the Red Wings.
Look, the Red Wings are the greatest American franchise. So, going through a little rebuild here ain't a big deal. We have Steve Yzerman. You see what Tampa Bay is doing. Yeah. It's still a remnant of the Steve Yzerman effect. I do think Tampa Bay ends up winning the title.
I agree. Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is the clear-cut favorite right now.
They're $17 million over the salary cap.
Yeah, that's
because insane. You can have whatever cap in the playoff. So they're just going to keep the bit of an unfair advantage, but they're an extremely talented team. Best goalie in the playoffs. Best roster. I mean, what's that series at this point?
2-1 Tampa.
All right, Tampa-Vegas finals. Tampa pulls it out.
I think Montreal is going to upset and go to the Stanley Cup finals against Tampa.
Let me see.
I think Carey Price, he's recaptured his Vezina days. And
I mean, yeah, he's good, but okay. See, that's the thing. Would they win in overtime yesterday?
Yeah.
Last game.
James Anderson had 2 goals, got the game-winning goal too.
Yeah, overtime in the playoffs, overtime in general is a coin flip.
Josh,
It's whoever gets the best chance first. So I'm not too concerned. I think if Vegas, where have they played on? How's home? Where's home ice at? Where's the next game? Montreal.
yes. Well, they just played last night in Montreal too.
Do they does NHL do a 2-2-1-1-1? I think they do.
Yeah.
A lot of travel. Well, they have more off days.
Yeah, they're playing at Centerbell, which is the home ice for the Canadians.
Yeah, we'll see who wins this next game, because if it's tied 2-2 going back to Vegas, well, that's a game for them. But if Montreal takes that 3-1 lead, then it's hard to come back from a 3-1 lead. But Montreal did it against Tampa or against Toronto.
It's much harder in hockey than it is in the NBA, I believe.
The NBA, the NHL playoffs are the hardest gauntlet to run in all of sports.
I could see that. Yeah.
It's so long. There's more parity in the NHL than any other league. The NBA, you have clear-cut top teams and superstars. A good comparison. Edmonton has two of the top 3-5 best players. McDavid's the best player in the league right now.
Right.
And Leon Draisaitl is top 5. So they have two of the best teams, and what, they get swept? Because depth matters more.
Yes.
That's more important. Even Montreal beating Winnipeg is an example of that. Winnipeg just didn't have that same level of depth. Montreal doesn't have the stars, but they're deep with average players. So that's kind of what makes the NHL playoffs so difficult, because you can't just be carried by your stars.
Right.
Well, and that was kind of Toronto's downfall. Their stars didn't perform, so they didn't move on. It's hard to be carried by singular players, whereas LeBron's made a career out of just dragging people through the playoffs with him. So who do you see in the? So you think Montreal?
Yeah, Montreal. I like them. Yeah. Corey Perry, reliving his days with the Ducks.
It's crazy. They're not a good team.
but no, on paper, no, they aren't that good of a team. But they're making it work. It's playoff magic.
Which begs the question, is this going to set them back in the team build? Like, they need to build a better roster to contend consistently, but are they going to think that they're...
I mean, obviously, they're going to end up with like the 30th or 28th or 29th pick. So, yeah, it's going to set them back a little bit.
Because they're not better than Vegas, not better than Colorado, they're not better than Tampa.
Nope.
Even New York, the Islanders, Barzal's an awesome player.
Yeah.
They even got a really good roster.
But end of the day, I have the Lightning beating the Canadians in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly, I mean, that's definitely what I'm hoping for, because then I win the bracket. So
of course you do.
That's a nice payout. Wouldn't be upset about that.
No, shouldn't be.
And I like Tampa teams for some reason. I like the Lightning. I like the Rays. Big Rays fan.
You big Tampa fan?
No.
Not the Bucks?
No, I don't like the Buccaneers at all. There's nothing really redeeming there. Mm-hmm. They got weird jerseys.
But yeah, I have Lightning winning the Stanley Cup for a second straight year.
When was the last repeat champions? Was it the Penguins?
It's got to be.
Pretty sure the Penguins did it. It's also Juneteenth, Jared. Did you know that?
Ooh, Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
It's a big day.
Yes, it is. Okay, so yes, you are correct. 2016, 2017, Penguins won back-to-back.
And then before that, the Red Wings.
Yeah, I would have been a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
97, 98
80. Yeah.
with Scotty Bowman as head coach.
All right, let's see how deep we can go with this this mock draft.
So I get the first pick. Buffalo Sabres, let's not waste any time here. Consensus number 1 overall pick, the favorite defenseman out of Michigan, Owen Power.
Owen Power. Tell me a little bit about Owen Power.
He's 6'6", tall guy, lefty, big, powerful defender. He'll be nice for Buffalo, obviously, since they have a lot of needs, but
They're just not a great team.
yeah.
Okay, let me get that in. Okay, well, the second pick, there's kind of a consensus 1 and 2. We really know who the top 2 players in this draft are. And the second's going to be another guy from Michigan, Matthew Beniers. I think it'll be good for Seattle. Number 2, getting a talented center, kind of the best offensive player in this draft as their first ever draft pick, someone they can build around and have going forward in the future. Probably still a year or 2 away from coming over to the pro leagues, probably send another season in with Michigan. I guess that depends on really his eligibility, but it'll probably be a couple of years before he plays with Seattle, but it'll be a good place to start for them.
All right. So for the third pick, I'm going to do something really interesting here.
No, you're not.
I am going to have a trade between the Ducks and the Sabres.
We're doing trades?
It's not going to show up, but this is a rumored trade that I'm hearing is that Jack Eichel goes to the Ducks.
No.
Ducks trade their 3rd overall pick, a 2022 second round pick, a good young prospect in Benoit Olivier Grula, and let's say Trevor Zegras. Why not? Just for the fun of it, give him extra value. So now the Sabres have the 1st and 3rd pick. Ducks get a big need with offensive firepower in Jack Eichel.
I'd say.
And I have since the Sabres already went defenseman with their 1st pick, they're going to go and get William Eklund, left wing out of the SHL.
It's a bit early, but Eklund's talented. He's a small guy. He's fast.
Mm-hmm.
He can definitely produce offensively. He's very skilled. He's got a makeup where he could play center if you needed him to. He's a really good player. I was kind of hoping he would fall to 6.
No, exactly why I liked him there for the Sabres. Or if even if the trade doesn't happen, I could see the Ducks drafting them.
Yeah, not a bad player to get there. Now, number 4. This we're looking at 3 defenders. I think we're between Luke Hughes, Simon Edvinsson, and Brant Clark. So it's going to really be who the Devils prefer out of those 3. And, I think of them, the consensus best player, the one who's viewed higher than the other one. Other ones is Luke Hughes, although, I prefer Brant Clark, but I do think Luke Hughes is the one who's going to would go here.
Okay. All right. I could see that. What do you like about Luke Hughes to go there to the Devils?
Let me see. Is Quinn Hughes' brother?
Yes, that is correct.
Gosh, I need more of a prospect profile.
I know, yeah. This site doesn't give you any descriptions.
So he's a dynamic skater and a similar playmaker to his brother. He is bigger than Quinn and a little bit more advanced than Quinn was at this stage in defense. So it looks like he's a really talented all-around player. He's definitely leaning towards the offensive side. He's left-handed. He's 6'2", so he can move around. He's developing his defensive game, and how far that progresses will, be an indication of how impactful he can actually be as, a defender. But the offensive game's already there, and that's valuable. Do I know what the Devils' D-core looks like right now? But I imagine they could need the help. Pass up on offensive, defensive talent, especially when he's still got some ability to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me see who their defensemen are. That's not what I clicked.
All right. While you're doing
Subban.
that, I'm going to make my pick for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Just what I noticed looking at the Blue Jackets roster, they have a big need for wingers. They're kind of slim in that department, only have a few good ones. So right here, I am going to go with Dylan Guenther, right wing, out of the double HL.
Okay. Tell me about Dylan Guenther.
Let's see.
It looks like the Devils could use some left-handed defensemen. They got some talented right sides, but they could use some lefties. So I think Luke Hughes makes sense there if he's there.
Okay, so yeah, good skater. He's a 6'1", tall for a winger. He's a right-hand shooter. He's still only 18 years old. He has good acceleration. He's a threat with and without the puck, has good hands. Smart player, strong on the defensive end, just good all-around player. They compare him to Tyler Seguin, so I'd say that's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, no, I see him going before in the top 5 for sure. I think there's a good chance he gets taken before Eklund because Eklund has more question marks in the size department because he is a small guy. But you have smaller forwards. They just, it's a different skill set. If they're quick enough and skilled enough, they can get by. No, I think Gunther's a good pick there. And
Red Wings. So I think I know who you're going with here.
No, I'm not. I'm not taking a defenseman. I think Edvinsson and Clark are very talented, and there's a good chance that if they're sitting here at 6, that Yzerman pulls the trigger there. But I think we have to consider need a little bit more. And when you look at the Wings, their prospect pool, they have a lot of defenders. Obviously, Mo Seider's coming up soon. He's looking like he's going to kind of headline the rebuild with, alongside. Shoot, why can't I remember his name right now? What's his name? The winger. Gosh, it's early, man.
It's You know more about Red Wings hockey than I do.
Right. The Wings have no centers. No. They have Dylan Larkin, and they have.
That's about it. Dylan Larkin.
No, they had someone else. Jeez, I can't. Brain's not working. Let me pull this roster up so I know the name I'm looking for. Yeah, Michael Rasmussen's not nothing to write home about. Oh, he's not on their roster here. Okay, well, let me pull their prospects up. Joe Veleno. So they have, looking forward to the future, they have Larkin at 1C, and Veleno's going to top out at a 3C. You can put him at second line center if you have the wingers to carry him. And I think the way that they're constructing their roster, they're going to have some very talented, wingers that come up. Lucas Raymond's incredible.
Yes, there it is.
That's who they're going to be looking to put up there. Philip Zadina. I know a lot of people kind of disappointed with how last season went, but if you look beyond the counting stats, he had a really good season if you just watched him play. Rasmussen, I think, he'll end up being a third line winger who is able to play along. But I think Kent Johnson makes the most sense here. Can he stay at center?
Is that your pick, Kent Johnson?
Yeah, Kent Johnson. Can he stay at center long term going into the NHL? That's to be seen, but his offensive ability is incredible. Outside of Eklund, he's one of the most, offensively gifted players in this draft. So I do think that there's a good chance they take him. His defensive side is the biggest question mark, and that's why, unsure if he's going to be able to stick at center going forward. But I do think Kent Johnson is kind of a safe bet if the Wings look to fill need. If they instead look to go for, best player available, then I think it would be, Edvinsson would probably go here. But he's a lefty, and they have a lot of lefty. Brandt Clark also makes sense being a right D because that fills, or no, they have a lot of right Ds. So I think Brandt Clark makes less sense for that fact, even though, I really like him as a player. But Edvinsson would be an ad at lefty. I don't really think he'll end up being here, but I could see him going for him. But I think Kent Johnson makes the most sense.
Okay. Yeah, Red Wings take their likings to Michigan centers. Dylan Larkin a few years ago.
Well, Larkin they snatched at 15, so that was really a value pick.
Yes, that's it was. Much like this pick for the San Jose Sharks, they're getting kind of old in the defenseman apartment. They got Brent Burns, who's 36, Erik Karlsson, 31, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, who's 34. Not getting any younger at the defenseman, so I think this guy who somehow fell all the way to 7 might be steal of the draft. Simon Edvinsson going to the Sharks at 7. Still very young. He's only 18. Just 6'4", 203. Doing well out in Sweden. Very offensive-minded defenseman. So I think this is a good pick for the Sharks. Helps a position of need, especially where they're getting older. But yeah, I think that's where, especially with Edvinsson, probably should be a top 5 pick, top 4, maybe even top 3. Just Edvinsson falls right into the laps of the Sharks here at 7.
Yeah, no, that would be a dream scenario for the Sharks. And I'm going to follow that up with a pretty simple pick here. I think it comes down to Fabian Lysell or Brandt Clark. But I think the value here for Brandt Clark is too high to pass, especially with the style, the Kings play. They've had, a lot of good defensemen over the years, and I think Brandt Clark can add to that. I do like Fabian Lysell's upside, though, but he's a boom or bust pick.
Yes.
I think Brandt Clark is a good value here at
8. Okay. I like it. I could see that happening.
Do the Kings have the number 1 prospect? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the Kings' top 3 prospects are all forwards. There's only 2 defensemen in the top 10. So I think adding Brandt Clark improves an already impressive prospect pool.
Okay.
Quentin Byfield. Big kid.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Brandt Clark.
Yes.
Brandt Clark's so good. He's like he's one of the smartest players in this draft. He sees things develop before they happen. The biggest downside on him is his skating. He's got an awkward stride and he looks really weird skating. Not to say that that's going to really limit him, but if they can fix that, you could see him being the best player in this draft. That is why I like him so much.
All right, and so
doing here?
At 9, yeah, they got Canucks. I don't know. They're kind of in a weird spot. They got good young players, but I don't know. They just haven't really shown up, I guess. But with that, I'm gonna have them pick a guy you were just talking about, right winger Fabian Lysell.
Anything more on Fabian? I'm trying to get the Senators
Yeah, he's
prospect
also
being pulled
18,
up.
also from Sweden. He's 5'11", so right-hand shooter.
Why can't I not get? Okay, this is what I wanted. Here we go. No, you got to be a subscriber. God, I hate all these paywalls. Jeez.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see the scouting report. Okay, so he's one of the better skaters in this draft. Good first step, excellent acceleration, uh, excellent puck handling skills. More of a playmaking winger than a shooter. I think the Canucks can use that. Someone to free up their higher scoring players like Brock Besser or Bo Horvat, Elias Peterson. I mean, they got good young players. It just didn't happen this year.
All right, then we're on to the Senators here.
Yes.
So none of these goalies here on the Senators are anything to get too excited about. It's looking like.
Mm-hmm.
And the prospects rankings have the Senators system at number 4, so it's pretty well regarded. And I'm not seeing an awesome goalie here. Let me make sure I get through this here. Yeah. So with that in mind, looking like that they'll have kind of the need for a goalie and the ability to not rely on something else to add to that system. I think Jesper Wall, or you picked Lysell, right? Yeah, I think
I did.
Jesper
I did pick up.
Wallstead makes sense here. He's easily the best goalie in this draft. Goalies are really voodoo, and it's tough to, really tell when they're going to be good or bad. But Wallstead's very similar to Carey Price, and he's very technically sound. He doesn't make a lot of flashy saves, but he need to. He's always in a very good position, and that's something you can. The fact that he's this advanced at this point, there's a good hit rate on him. So I think it's a very good value here if the Senators feel they want to fill that void.
All right. So Jesper Wallstead at 10. Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of the Ballverse. A little choppy today, but
Bear with us.
Yeah, bear with us. Yeah, like I said in that first video, still working out the kinks, but yeah, I like where we're heading, and hopefully you guys like where we're heading too, and we could develop this into something bigger. So thank you guys. Have a good day.